Howdy neighbors, welcome back to the channel. This is Anarchy in the 603 and you're here for another postcard from your friendly neighborhood anarchist. Absolutely nobody's favorite, D-tier production quality, lightly edited off-dome dispatch from wherever I'm sitting right now to wherever you happen to be. Currently out back by the peach tree again. Got a bumper crop this year and a lot of them are getting very plump and heavy and oozing peach gum. I'm very excited, but I'm also wary about the squirrels. They completely stripped my peaches last year when I was away for my brother's funeral, and I'm hoping this year to be able to actually get to harvest some. Speaking of funerals, that brings me to the topic of today's video. A few days ago, I was heartbroken to hear about the news of the passing of Mikayla Raines, founder of the Save a Fox organization, saveafox.org. She's got a couple of million YouTube followers and has done a ton of amazing work over the years, rescuing foxes from fur farms, rehabilitating them, and either releasing them into the wild or releasing them to good homes under the care of people qualified to take care of them. And she unfortunately passed at her own hand, leaving behind a husband and a daughter and hundreds of people in her family and organization, as well as thousands of people across the world who feel her great loss. She was very open about her mental health struggles and also her difficulties on occasion with her neurodivergence. She was an autistic adult, as am I, and her loss is a devastating blow not only to the animal rescue and rehabilitation community, but also her loss is also a blow for the autism self-advocacy community. Those of us who are vocal on our platforms about our neurodivergence and about our life experiences with our neurotype. There's not a lot of us out there, and seeing an autistic adult having a family, running a successful organization, I mean, that's inspirational. I first came across Mikayla's work only about 9 months ago. I have a snapping turtle. His name is Gar, and he is only about 9 months old now. They are not a very typical pet, to be sure. We found him on his hatch day late into the year. September is a bit late for them to be born, and out of every 100 eggs laid, only 1% of those eggs make it to maturity at the age of 15 years, and he was found almost a full mile away from water, almost fully dried out, and about the size of a silver dollar. And now, when he naps in my hand, he's very docile. He takes up almost the entirety of my palm. And I was looking online. He's not my first aquatic pet. He's not my first reptile, not my first turtle even. But it's been a long time since I've had a turtle, and a snapping turtle is, again, a bit on the unusual side of things. Online for some resources to refresh my memory on how to care for these guys. And I stumbled across a video of Mikayla's that was, about 12 years old now. So anyway, in that video, she went over her care and feeding routine for her turtle Snappy, who at the time was about 5 years old and also hand-raised. She had found him when she was a child. From there, watched her video on how to alter a dog harness just by a couple of quick steps to be able to walk your snapping turtle on a lead. And I found myself just utterly charmed by this girl who, even at that age, was so poised and so knowledgeable and so passionate and so good at communication. about, gotcha, about animal care and animal advocacy and outreach. And I went on to see a few more of her videos, just, to see what she was doing, now, given that her channel had been around for so long. And I remember being just blown away and thrilled to see the work that she had been able to accomplish. So a few days ago now, to see the news posted by her husband, that anguishing video, it's been hard. I didn't know her, but here's the facts. I mentioned earlier that she had self-ended, and I hadn't yet mentioned the reason why. She was bullied to death. She was bullied to death online, on Reddit snark forums. If you don't know what those are, essentially, pick any celebrity out there. There's gonna be at least one forum dedicated directly to hating on them on Reddit. And these snark forums can get vicious, and the bullying spilled out into people harassing her online directly. And over the years, it had gotten worse as her following grew larger, and her being a very gentle soul who wasn't built for that kind of thing. No one really is, but some folks just have more of a resiliency to withstand it than others. And those of us who do withstand it, put anybody under enough pressure and it'll change you. And eventually it grew to be too much. Now, I've never been bullied en masse by people online. And I've had an online presence now since like the early dawning of the internet. I'm old, y'all. If you couldn't tell, I'm closer to 50 than I am 40. I'm 47. I've never had a following as big as her, and nor do I ever intend to. I mean, I've got 82 subscribers now, which is 82 more than I ever anticipated. But I have endured hell at the hands of people who were very near and dear to me. And the intensity that comes from just a handful of people at close range, a million strangers or 100 of thousands of strangers, or even a couple of hundred strangers at distance that you don't know, who are still going out to publicly harass you and try to ruin your life, every bit is traumatic. Every bit is traumatic. And she broke. She eventually crumbled, and I just have to ask them, is that what you wanted? A daughter grows up now without a mom. A husband watches his daughter grow up, their daughter grow up, without his partner, his person by his side. And all why? To what end? What did you gain? An organization that has saved countless animal lives, that has done so much good to promote animal welfare, regardless of their criticisms on how she did her work. And I, fortunately or unfortunately, I never really heard what was being said in those snark pages. I just knew what was going on. One second here. When you have EDS, you have to crack your neck a lot on humid days. Otherwise, the neck stops moving. Anyway, yeah, so I never saw those criticisms. All I ever saw was the work being done. And by and large, from what I understand, the good work and the good words far outweighed the few criticisms, but what criticisms there were intense enough to lead people to harass a woman literally to death. It's like, what did y'all win? What did y'all gain? This important work is now being carried on without the guiding hand that was behind it all, and a family is devastated. And it's like, I can't help but think to myself, how can people think so little of other people that they would do this, that they would be complicit in it, that they'd allow it to happen, that they'd encourage it to happen. But then I think, because, it's all connected, like, look at the world that we are in today. A Canadian citizen has just died under ICE custody, reasons unclear. We've had a woman who was 5 months pregnant get brutalized by ICE and lose her baby. We know the reasons behind that. A woman has been ripped away from her 5-month-old breastfeeding child and her husband, who is a U.S. citizen. U.S. citizens are being deported, many of them children. We have people supporting a foreign government that is literally obliterating the lives of people in the double digits every day. Men, women, children, babies. It's being wiped off the face of the earth, and so many people are okay with this. So many people are just fucking fine with it. You agree with it. You want it. And why? Why? Like, because your life is hard? Because you are angry at the way things turned out for you? So let's focus our anger on people who have nothing to do with it. The entire government is being turned into a deportation apparatus. And, like, once you've deported all of the people you don't like, and once you've bullied to death all the people that are still here, who are you going to have to blame for everything that's gone wrong? Once all the brown people, all the black people, all the foreign people, all the foreign-born nationals are purged from the country, and, they're getting rid of birthright citizenship now. Like, the Supreme Court's paved the way for that. I was born and raised here. I was literally born less than 20 miles from where I'm sitting. Never lived more than 25 miles from where I was born. But my mom's a naturalized citizen. Maybe they can revoke her status. She's been a citizen since the late 1970s. What now? They could, because if you're getting rid of birthright citizenship, my mom being a naturalized citizen, is that, like my dad being an American-born citizen, is that going to be enough to keep me here if they get rid of that? So, you may think that none of this is connected, but it is. Like, right now, we're doing mass deportations, getting rid of hundreds of thousands of people, and bear with me here, right? Over 500,000 Haitians are now being stripped of their legal status. So we're deporting the brown folk, we're deporting the black folk, and now RFK Jr. is queuing up an entire panel of anti-vaxxers and autism eradicators who practice charlatan, unlicensed medicine on innocent kids and a whole fucking population of scared parents who are likely undiagnosed autistic themselves. But, that's for another video. But yeah, so we're getting rid of the black people, the brown people, and now we're working on demonizing the disabled. I don't view autism as a disability. It is literally just a difference in neurotype. However, the lack of accommodations in society can make it fairly disabling at times. And greater accessibility would mean that it is less disabling, and that those of us who do have struggles with integrating into holistic life would have an easier time. I had a career up until just a few years ago, god damn it. Mikayla did too, till people bullied her to death. But that's what I'm saying. Don't you see how it's all connected? We're lining up the disabled folk because it's already clear that getting rid of the brown folk isn't fixing anything. Bullying disabled people, bullying autistic people to death, and trying to eradicate them by getting rid of vaccines somehow, as if if vaccines caused autism, given that vaccines have been used since when's the very first smallpox inoculation? When folks in the Middle East were taking the scabs off of cows and schmucking them onto cuts made onto healthy people. Like, if vaccination has caused autism, I know all of you people out there who say that they do, it's because of the mercury or whatever in the thimerosal, but you're confusing one kind of mercury for another one, and that's for another video. But anyway, millions of parents, billions of parents at this point, have been inoculated all over the world for diseases for 100 years now, right? Would that not mean that there'd even be more autism around than there is now? You'd think. Y'all so afraid that vaccines are going to give your kids autism, but like, did it give you autism, or your grandparents autism, or your great-grandparents autism, or your parents autism? That's another tangent. Back around the egg. Fact is, these people are trying to find ways to, if they can't deny our existence outright, to demonize us as folks who are never going to pay taxes or find love or write poems or have a family, all of which I've done, by the way. But yeah, getting rid of us isn't going to fix everything either, or anything. Who are they going to line up next once demonizing us hasn't solved anything? The fact is, all of this boils down to an extreme lack of empathy and an extreme blindness. Like, everyone's so angry at the state of the world, and they're looking for an easy person to demonize so that they can, eradicate the problem, and, by fixing this one, like, it's like a leak under the sink or something. Like, you fix the one leaky pipe and everything's fine again, but that's not how societal problems are. Like, by bullying brown people, by bullying autistic people, by bullying trans youth in sports or trans people in general, like, somehow that's gonna solve anything. And it hasn't. It never has. And it's not gonna. But people still keep on doing it anyway, because it's a playbook of hatred, is a playbook that works to stir people up. And I just want to know, is this the world that you guys want to live in? Where we line up one group to hate and get another group to hate lined up immediately after them, and another group to hate immediately after them, another group to purge, another group to diminish, another group to demonize, another group to bully, another group to erase from existing and participating in our society? What has exclusion ever done for anyone? Whittling away who gets to enjoy the same full rights and freedoms and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and all that shit that everyone else gets. What has exclusionary thinking ever done for us? What has limiting people ever done? What has erasing people ever done? And why do we want to live in that kind of world anyway? Is this what you want? Do you want to have people afraid to participate in public life? Do you want to have people afraid to come to our country even to visit for fear that they may die? Do you want to live in a country where someone who does so much good work saving creatures that would be slaughtered just so people can wear their skin gets bullied to death? I can tell you right now, that's not the kind of world that I want. That's not the kind of world that I wanted for my kids. I may only have one biological kid, but I have a bunch of bonus kids that I love like my own, even though they're not blood related to me. And I've been so blessed to watch them all grow up to be young adults and start growing their own path and lives and thriving as best they can under their own terms as independent adults. Damn mosquitoes. It's not the world that I wanted to give to my grandkids either. And I'm already fortunate to have more than one. Not all of them biologically my own. Again, bonus kids means bonus grandkids, but they're still my grandkids. And you guys got families, right? You may not have kids of your own, but nieces, nephews, cousins, siblings. Is this the world that you want for them too? I don't know what it'll take, what to say to convince people to just give a shit about other people. I don't know what to say to you to convince you all that pointing the finger at each other, fostering a distinct and disgusting lack of empathy, it isn't solving our problems. If hatred solved our problems, then given the history of America, we wouldn't have any by now. Don't you think it's time that we tried something a bit different? We all get one life on this one planet that we know of. Spiritual beliefs aside, whether you believe in an afterlife, whether you believe in reincarnation, all we know for sure is what we have right here, right now. And what we leave behind is the world that we leave behind for the next generation of people who also get this one life. I don't know how to convince y'all that it would be better to be less shitty to each other and try to leave the world a bit better off for the next people down the pike. But I really hope that something I say can stick. Anyway, rest in peace, Mikayla. Your work was inspirational to so many people, myself included. And seeing a fellow autistic person being authentically themselves in public with their full chest, following their passion with that singular drive that comes with having it as your ultimate special interest, with the extreme depth of knowledge and passion that comes along with it. It's absolutely inspiring to me. And to her husband and her daughter and to her friends and family, I am so sorry that this world, that those people were so cruel as to rob this world and your family of such a light, really truly inspirational individual who so clearly, genuinely lived her passion and her truth and did her very best to spread nothing but love and healing in a most literal sense to some extremely vulnerable creatures who did that work well. I am so sorry that you have to go on and carry on her work without her, in her honor instead of alongside of her. It shouldn't have had to be like that. Anyway, neighbors, I'm sorry for such a downer video today. Not like most of my videos are typically very cheerful anyway. I may be friendly, but a lot of dark topics around here sometimes. So, all that being said, if you haven't talked to someone in a long time that you care about really deeply, take this as your nudge from me to just reach out to them and say, hey, I've just been thinking about you. You know, someone who's like really important to you, just reach out to them. And even if you haven't heard from them in a long time, just tell them how important they are. Even if it's out of the blue, tell somebody that you love them. Tell somebody that's had an impact on your life, just how much they've impacted you. because you never know just what a difference that could make. Anyways, till next time, neighbors, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next time.